This is Tom Rust for TRSB Sports Podcast. Today, delighted to be joined by Matt Brown, founder of Thor Boxing. How you doing, mate?
I'm good, mate. You?
Yeah, all good, thank you. I was just saying thanks for your patience. Kept you waiting tonight, so appreciate that, mate.
No problem.
Well,
Good
mate. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we had a good conversation on the phone last week to just get an idea about your journey into the boxing world and your boxing brand. We predominantly speak to professional boxers to help them promote their fights, their shows, to help them sell tickets. So it's nice to get someone on who's involved in boxing but a different side. So how did it all come about, the idea of starting? Is it something that you thought about for a long time? Is it like the pandemic sort of made you think, or how did it come about?
Well, yeah, the pandemic was when it first happened. We had the first lockdown. I was on furlough. So you're kicking about, scratching. You've got a lot of time. And I always wanted to do something, business-wise or something. And I was thinking, if you can match business with something you enjoy or a hobby or whatever, then that's the best thing you can do, I guess. So I was just thinking about it, and I literally looked in there. We spent about half an hour researching in it. I was like, oh no. And I sort of forgot about it, and then it just kept on my mind, it just kept coming back, and then I just started looking at it a bit more and a bit more and a bit more, and you just get further and further down the line, and then you end up researching manufacturers, seeing what's what. We've got multiple samples. It's been a good 2 years just to get to where we are now, and we've only literally just took our first batch of stock. It's only a small order. It's just been a lot of back and forth. Obviously, that pandemic didn't help with suppliers, and you're waiting so long for samples. I mean, some samples are taking 6 months, for one pair of gloves.
Blimey.
But it had to be right. I mean, I'm not saying we've got it right, spot on first time. I don't think anyone really can, but I know personally, when you spend all that time waiting for your package to come, you get nervous when you notice at the door it's coming. You get nervous because you spent all this time and energy developing this, and then you want to see you've got the real product now, and you're opening it, and you're getting nervous because you think, please be good, because as soon as you look at it, whether it's any good or not. And we had a couple of samples. You open them, and I was just like, what a waste of time. And then you end up just scratching it again, like, well, what do we do now? But then you find the one that is good quality. You can tell by the communication of the company as well. I think they seem more professional than a lot of people, which is obviously a good sign. So yeah, we actually went back to the first manufacturer I actually tried, because the quality was just, it was so much better. Like stitching, the padding, the print. We had some print on some of the samples that we got, and it was literally like the outline was like bleeding. Do you know what I mean? It was all like, and it just like, how can you sell that? Because as soon as if I sold a pair of gloves to you, you're going to get them. The first thing you're going to, especially from a new brand you've never heard of, you're going to open them up, and the first thing you're going to do is scrutinize them, aren't you? So there's no way I could put my name to that and just send that out. So it was like, no, I'm not having that. I'm not having this. But then you also see, what you need to change to get a better glove at the end of the day. And obviously there's still changes we're probably going to make on the next order, but it's all part of the process, I think.
Yeah, I was thinking about what you do, and there are so many things that you've got to do to end up with a pair of boxing gloves, like find a manufacturer, design. How did you even start? Because from what you're saying, you are doing it, but you want to do it right. You want it to be a quality product. You don't just want to half-ass it. So where did it start? And were there occasions where you thought, what, maybe this is just too much?
Well, I started off on my own. Like, it was all my idea. I'd come up with a name. I remember, well, like I say, 2 years ago, I was literally like, what was happening back with my cousin? And I was like, I had like a piece of paper like this long with just names on it. I was like, what about this? What about this? What about it? I was just, no. And then you get it smaller and smaller and smaller. And you're picking out names. You're like, it's not too bad. And I was still, it was a good year into it. I was still umming on about the name, but it's like, you can't, you can't keep picking at it. At some stage, you've got to pull the trigger and say, yeah, let's go with this. So it's like that. And it's the same. I had my cousin literally like drawing sketches up of logos and gloves and things. I mean, you look back now and you laugh because they were so bad, but it was just to get a basic idea. So that's sort of like it literally started as an idea. I didn't even really look at the where you find manufacturers and things to, I don't know, a couple of weeks after. You know, I wanted to get the concept of what I wanted to do. But like you say, it's no point. I mean, it costs you money to start a business and a brand, you know, and it's why go into it thinking, oh, we're just going to try and make a bit quick, you know, sell a load of rubbish and try and make a quick profit, because your brand's going to die within the first couple of months of people placing orders, because they're going to get it, they're going to see it's not quality, or it's going to fall apart when they're using it, you know. And what is the point of that? Going through all this effort, you know, spending the money, the investment, time you spend, like yourself with social media, trying to build your brand, trying to get your name out there. Why go through all that if you're not truly believing what you do, you know? And I think the most fun part of it now is you're on that sort of journey of trying, you know. I mean, it might not be a massive brand, you know, hopefully, but it does, you know. I'd love to be the next Fly or Rival, but you know, that's massive. You know, we're going to start small and see how we go, and take it from there. That's, I guess, what you can do. If people like it, then you know we progress on and try and release, you know, different colours and different products and things like that. But
Yeah, I think it's only natural when you start. You know, when we started our podcast and was getting boxers on, before we did the channel, I'd always watch probably 90% of the time it'd be IFL, bit of boxing social, seconds out, and a few other channels. It
because
was
you learn,
sorry.
yeah, you learn, don't you? And you see what others are doing, and you
Yeah,
need to get that insight.
absolutely. And then when we started, I thought, bloody hell, you know, there are so many people out there, you know,
I've had that.
yeah, doing a similar thing. But I think sometimes it's good to look at these people that are, you know, at the top of the game, but also it's important just to sort of focus on what you're doing. Otherwise, you can get sucked into that too much. I know you you had an amateur background. So how much has that helped you with the you know, the production, the design, and thinking
I
about the
think,
gloves?
yeah, I mean, I trained as an amateur. I never actually had any fights because it didn't ever materialise. My body's like made of plastic. It just injury after injury, to be honest with you. But I mean, I loved it. I mean, in the end, it was hard work because I had bad shoulder and my back, you know. But I did love it, and I think as someone who boxes, I don't. Have you boxed at all? Done any boxing?
I did go to a boxing club, but because I've got an eye condition, I was never going to be allowed to
Yeah,
fight. So
yeah. I just feel like, yeah, sorry, go on.
I left. I didn't go back. But to be honest, mate, I think it's probably a blessing in disguise, because I think I probably would have been chinned a few times. I don't think I
It's
would have
got to
got
be in
on.
you. It's got to be in you. If you want to be a boxer, you want to be a good one, you take it seriously. It's got to be. It's got to be in you. You know, these boys that are out there doing it for a living. You know, this is why they need to be paid top money. And when they're getting bad decisions after tough fights, training camps, you know, it's ridiculous. It's something that needs to be done about some of the judging. You see, but yeah, I mean,
I couldn't agree with
sort
you
of,
more.
you've
At
got
the
a couple.
moment, it's almost like robberies in boxing have just become the norm. You know, you look at Jack Catterall, Josh Taylor.
That's exactly what was on my mind. You know, it's disgusting, really. I mean, that Jack, I think I watched that fight. And I think he boxed a perfect fight. You know, I think he's beating Taylor to the punch. He was in there, he was keen. You could see he wanted that fight, didn't he? And I was watching it. I thought, you know, he's got this easy, you know. And you could tell by his reaction after the final bell, he thought he won it. And when
Yeah,
Taylor was lifting his hands up, I thought, are you doing that just to, you know, try and cause a bit or not? Because I thought there's no way you can truly believe that you won that fight. And then for the scorecard to come out how it did, I mean, it's not right. I mean, that lad, he's trained all his life for that. You know, he's done the hard graft. He's done everything he needed to do. And he's got in there and he's took his opportunity. I see he should be world champion now, and he's not. And it's not right. But you know, you can't. I don't know. Well, I mean, I can't do nothing about it. But
yeah.
something needs to
Well,
change.
I think for me as well, you know, in 20 years' time, people will look back and just see a record. You know, they won't probably remember the fight that much, or the new generation of fans will look back and think, oh, we lost that fight. But it happens, you know, it happens on the biggest stage. You know, Sky Sports, live on the telly. There's no hiding place, and then it happens on the small hall shows. It's happening
Yeah,
all the time, and it's almost just like, well, that's part of boxing. You know, we spoke to Michael McKinson a little while ago on the channel. He flew out to America and had that fight, and I was saying to him, you know, do you worry about things like that? Because you can train hard, make all the sacrifices that boxers do, and go out there, have the fight of their life and have your fight of their life and still maybe walk away with the wrong decision. But with Jack Hatchell, I almost feel like, it's not just the fact that he didn't get the decision. It's almost like the loss of earnings, because the money he will earn now.
His status would have been, totally different. I mean, in a way, he's got the publicity from it, but it's not the same as having the credential of being world champion. And then, everyone's coming for you then, and he can demand better fights and better money. And now Taylor's stepping up a weight anyway, isn't he? It's a bit mental, but hopefully he'll come back. I mean, you can see he's got the quality in the class to box at that level. So, I'm sure, but like you say, everyone goes on the records nowadays. You could be 50-0, but have boxed rubbish, and people go, "Oh, he never lost." But I mean, look at the olden days. They just used to fight each other, didn't they? Whoever they were used to fight, and if they lost, they lost. It just meant that they stepped up, And it's not so much like that nowadays. It's too much politics, I think, which is it's a shame for the sport. But a lot of it's to do with money and status now.
I think you've hit the nail on the head, mate. I think, as much as the British Boxing Board of Control have come out and said, we're going to almost like demote Ian John Lewis, on one hand, they're saying, we made a mistake, but on the other hand, nothing's really going to happen. But I just think there's too much of a big knock-on effect to everyone involved financially if they was to overturn it or make it happen again. It's absolutely crazy. But again, you see it there, you see it on the small hall shows. It's disappointing. But something that also amazes me as well in the sport of boxing is the the journeyman, because we've got a journeyman coming on tomorrow who's had over 100 fights. It's just strange to me that there is a sport where you turn up and you're not meant to win. You're there almost just to make the other guy look good, not get knocked out because you're probably fighting in the following week. I just think it's a credible art at the same time though, because of course if they do get knocked out, then they miss, what is it, a month, 2 months now. So that always fascinates me.
It's mad, isn't it? I find it, I mean, the guys, they've got the talent to go top level. I can see why you want to get out of bed at 5 o'clock in the morning and do your miles and then diet, and shred the weight and train every day. Some of them are still working full-time jobs in the meantime, because they can see where they're going. But I don't think I could do it. I mean, no disrespect to these guys, because they're still getting in the ring and they're still putting their life on the line in the day, and it's their income. But I just find it hard, because boxing is a hard sport, man, isn't it? I mean, that as well as anyone. You're getting punched in the face for a hobby or a living, and you're putting your body through all sorts to get in shape. I mean, to do 12 rounds, 3-minute rounds, you've got to be in an unbelievable shape. But to know you're going there to lose and not really get any credit for what you do, it's just like, how do you get motivated to even bother train? I mean, they probably don't train to the same standard. I get that, but I don't know. I don't know where the motivation to do that comes from, to be honest. But
yeah, it's a strange one, because I feel like they're clearly talented, because for anyone to be a pro boxer, you've got to have a bit about you. But I almost feel like maybe these people start and then they realize actually it's quite hard to sell tickets. There's a lot of pressure. As you just said, they probably are training, but not half as much as full-time professionals. And unless you do make it, and you win a few titles, and you get the TV platform, it's only so it is only a very small percentage of fighters that actually make a lot of money and can hang up the gloves and be financially secure.
Well, it's like it's branding, isn't it? You've got to brand it. Unless you've come up and people have noticed him, and they're like, wow, this kid needs to be nurtured. I mean, look at Anthony Joshua. What did he start boxing when he was 18 or something stupid, 19 or something? I mean, he's obviously made multi-millions. He's been some of the biggest fights, and he hardly even had much of he boxed in the Olympics, but he didn't have like an amateur background. Like some people have had 100-odd fights before they even turned pro. They've won the ABAs and they've boxed in all these shows around the country and that. And they don't get anywhere near the height he's got to. And I don't think he's the most talented boxer. I don't know way. I mean, put him back in the olden days, like I said, he probably wouldn't last more than a few rounds, I don't think. And that's not dissing him. I just, he's been a bit of a, sounds bad to say because he's obviously massive, but he's like a bit of a hype job in some ways. You know what I'm saying? It's without any disrespect, because he's doing the right things, but I just feel like he's got the right promoter behind him. He's got the status. I mean, he's a bit of a specimen as well, isn't he? You know, he could quit boxing tomorrow and be a professional bodybuilder, no problem. He's like Frank Bruno was back in the day. But yeah, it's just all about branding yourself, isn't it? You know, and being an exciting fight as well, I guess. I mean, look at McGregor and Mayweather, and I mean, Canelo's sort of up there because of what he does in the sport. But Mayweather, I mean, love him or hate him, he made ridiculous sums of money, you know. And to be honest, all right, you don't have to like him for how he was, but I still think he's probably one of the best boxers ever, and I used to love watching him because he had the art of boxing down to a T. He made it look, you know, oh, this guy's gonna he's gonna lose this time. This guy's the next thing. This guy's figured him out. Nah. I mean, how many people actually give him a good fight? Hardly any, really, if you're honest.
Yeah, I feel like he definitely took, you know, the right fights at the right time. And I think with Anthony Joshua as well, like you're saying, yeah, you know, looks the part. He had, you know, winning, you know, it was London 2012 as well, wasn't it? He won the Olympics, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It's signed with Eddie Hearn, best promoter in the game, I think, you know, and Sky at the time. I don't know where he's going to go though. You know, I saw Adam Smith talking earlier about he's confident that he will stay at Sky. I'm sure Eddie Hearn would love to get his signature at the Zone. What do you make of the boxing landscape at the moment with Eddie Hearn, the Zone, Frank Warren, Sky linking up with Boxer?
I think Eddie was. I mean, I think he's great for the sport. I think what he's done with it is amazing. You know, he's turned it around. He puts on. I mean, look at when he put on all those shows during the lockdown at his house. I mean, that was some spectacle to do that. You know, it's great. I mean, all right, he's got this. He's lucky he's got that sort of house to be able to do it. You know, not many people have, but I mean, he's always thinking outside the box, and you can see why people want to be promoted by him because he is getting the best and biggest shows. And I think Sky, you know, probably they wouldn't obviously say it, but I expect they're probably slightly gutted that they've lost him. No, I mean, boxers, I mean, there's Ben, isn't it, who's the promoter now, I think.
Yeah, Ben Shalom.
And he's doing the best he can. I'm not saying he's doing a bad job. I mean, he's still early in the game at the minute. And, you know, the shows I've watched, no problems with him. But, you know, I think, same with anything, there's always that guy at the top, isn't there? And I think Eddie's definitely up there. So I think, you know, I don't know, it's money talks, doesn't it? And, you know, Joshua, you know, like I say, these guys are putting their life on the line, getting in the ring, especially the heavyweights. You know, so if Eddie offers him more money, I got no problems with fighters who are fighting for their well-being in their life, you know, to get as much money as they can. I think there's too many boxers out there who are trying their hardest to get these bigger fights to earn the good money, who are been in some wars, you know, and they're not getting the props for that. You know?
Yeah,
so
no, it's mad. You know, when you look at Eddie Hearn, his personal profile, I think like something like over 1 million followers on Instagram. You know, most boxers don't have anywhere near that. You know, unless you're like Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua, and obviously a few others. And I think for fighters as well these days, when you know they're not on that level, but they are making money. But then they see the likes of the YouTubers that come out and have that one exhibition fight and probably make 10 times as much.
It's
just
the
like,
worst thing in boxing. Honestly, it just winds me up so much because, like I just said, you know, you've got these guys that have been boxing since they were 10. You know, maybe sooner. You know, they dedicated their life to it. They've done the amateurs. They've come up to the lower professional ranks. They are training every day and they're looking for that. Then you've got this guy on YouTube who used to be a gamer, never really boxed, you know, and he's come out and he's got the biggest fight and he's making millions. And you've got these poor guys who are making, they're trying so hard to sell tickets to earn a living, doing what they love, it's their passion. This guy's just not his passion, it was a payday, you know. And I mean, it's hard to knock him in it because he sat there like making millions and I'm sat here to like, you know, nowhere near his standard, but it makes a mockery of the sport, it really does. And I don't like it as a purist boxing fan. It shouldn't be allowed, really, I don't think, because I wouldn't buy it on pay-per-view, no way.
No, I think there was a time, I think it was last year, where it felt like there was one of these exhibition fights every week, and I was starting to feel like boxing was becoming diluted. And, you know, it's mad, you know, all of a sudden they're YouTubers or they've got a following, they're an influencer, whatever you want to call it, but then all of a sudden they love boxing and they want to box. And I'm sure there are a few genuine ones that do find the sport and do love it, but I think 9 times out of 10, it's money.
Yeah, exactly. Because there's no way that you can go from being, you know, a, a gamer on YouTube to being good enough boxer to get in the ring with Mayweather. You know, every boxer wanted to fight Mayweather for obvious reasons. You know, you're going to get the biggest payday of your career.
Yeah, yeah.
It's going to be the biggest night in your boxing life, probably. You know, and then you got was it Logan, or was it Logan who boxed him?
Yeah, 1 minute he was playing what is it, Minecraft, and next minute he's fighting Mayweather. Do you know what I mean?
He sat there playing Minecraft, earning money from that, and you've got these guys that are out there running 5, 8, 10 miles, whatever, every morning, you know, and then going to work and then hitting the gym again and then sparring and all this. And it's like, it's money, isn't it? It all comes down
Yeah.
to money and status at the end of the day.
If it makes money, mate, in boxing, it makes sense. Going back to your boxing brand, I wanted to ask you, what have been the biggest challenges that you've faced so far?
To be honest, because we're still in our early stage, we haven't had nothing drastic pop up. This, you know, I think we're at that stage where you can make mistakes and you're not penalised. So I think when you get to more of a status, I think you're more under scrutiny, aren't you? So you know, it's just at the moment we were just getting it right and trying to get something we were happy with that we could then, you know, put the effort into try and sell and try and, you know, would we wear them gloves? Would I box in them gloves? You know, would I? Because if I wouldn't wear them, how can I expect anyone else to want to pay for them and wear them?
Yeah, of
course.
course.
So, but I mean, we changed the design 3 or 4 times, you know, and it was so hard, like making little tweaks here and there, and don't know about this, don't know about that, but you know, it's costing you, because when you buy one glove as a sample, it costs you a lot of money because the manufacturers have to literally make this one pair when they want to do it in bulk, which is the reason. So, you know, there's investment in that, which isn't a massive problem because you know the reason you're doing it, but you also can't keep just getting, because like I said, you're waiting sometimes 3 to 6 months for one sample before you can even say, well, we want to change this now, and then you've got to go through that again.
Oh yeah.
You know, so it was like, right, we're happy with this. We like the look of it. People that have given us feedback like the look of it. The quality's there. The stitching's good. The line's good. The print's good. You know, we haven't gone with genuine leather on this one. We've gone with the synthetic leather, but it's, you know, we know it's durable. We know it's going to last. With obviously everyone loves the leather, the genuine cowhide and things, but you know, it's does deteriorate over time. But also, I think going with the synthetic leather at this stage, because we've started with a glove, the price range is sort of right in the middle, which gives us scope to, you know, bring out a lesser glove for, like, you know, your people do box fit and that. We just want to go and hit a bag to get fit, so we can bring out a lower glove for cheaper price. But also, if we want to bring out a, you know, a genuine level one with a, you know, more on like fight game, then we can bring that out as well. Which obviously, our goal, I'd love to turn on Sky, you know, and there's a guy walking out with our gloves on. That would be, you know, that was like one of my number one goals when I first thought about it. So I mean, I'd love to, you know, turn on pay-per-view and someone's walking out with your gear on. That would be amazing, you know. But
Yeah.
small steps, isn't it? You know, it's been small and slow to get to this point, and you look back and you think, wow, how have I waited 2 years to get to this point? Because at a time you know, you're keen, you've got the name, you found a manufacturer, you're doing this, and then it's like that was like year ago, you know. We've literally just took stock now and launched a website like last week, you know. Now you're thinking, oh, now we've got to try and sell something. Because like yourself, no one knows who you are yet. You're just starting out and no one really trusts a brand they've never heard of. So you're trying to build trust, you're trying to get yourself out there, you know, and you're not coming up in Google. When someone types in boxing gloves, you're not going to be top of the page in Google. You're not going to be on everyone's mind for a pair of boxing gloves. That's the challenge you've got to start in a brand. And I'm sure you're aware of that, you know, trying to get your podcast out there. You know, you're putting in, the graph comes in behind the scenes, not the product. It's trying to build the hype, I guess, around what you're doing. That's the problem.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree with you more. When we first started this channel, a bit like you, I had this sort of burning desire to do a podcast for a long time, but I almost just had to find the right dance partner. So my colleague, I actually work with, sort of 9 to 5, if you like. We do it together. We started doing the football. We used to review the football on a Monday, like from the weekend, with the intention at some point to try and get guests on. And I just thought, oh, this is going to take ages. We're probably going to need to get to like 5,000 subscribers before people even like, consider coming on. But I think it surprised me actually how quickly we could get people on. But then I think that's because with the boxers predominantly at the moment fighting on the small hall shows, they want as much exposure as possible.
Exactly. Yeah. Same with anyone up and coming, whatever. You're going to grab every opportunity you can get to get. If 5 people find out who Thor boxing is through this podcast, that's a success, because it's 5 people more that didn't know about me, half an hour ago or whatever. So, but also like you say about your partner, I'm in this with my best mate come on with me. So you've got the chemistry of being good friends anyway. He also does a bit of boxing and jiu-jitsu and things, so he sort of knows it, and he's pretty good business mentality as well, and we can bounce off each other. I can run ideas by him, and he'll say, well, there's a couple of times I was going to dive in on something without really thinking, and he's gone, well, hold fire a minute. What about, yeah, you know what I mean? And I think it comes in both ways. I'll think about certain stuff, he'll think about certain stuff. I think I've had a bit more input, because obviously it's my idea. I've done, the name was all done, the branding was sort of done, and he sort of come on once I'd had the first sample, showed him. He's like, I like that. He said, because he's more the financial side of it. I've done sort of the, I don't know, the running around or the donkey work, you could call it, I guess. And he sort of has his input, but he also helps with the financial side of it. But it's exciting, isn't it? I mean, when when you start out, I'll get you at it. I suppose you probably, you're excited to start and you're excited to get yourself out. I mean, it's nerve wracking. I mean, I was a bit nervous doing this. I've never done it before, and it's the same with anything else. It's because I've kept this quiet for so long. Hardly anyone knew about it, because I just thought, I didn't want people at work finding out. I didn't want them to start asking stupid questions, or I'd find out people sort of, if they find out you're trying to do something yourself, they, you get a bit of negativity thrown your way sometimes, and you get that. But even like certain family members, it's been kept quiet from, and it's not because I was embarrassed of it, but I just thought I don't want people judging it on, because I thought if it becomes something, people will then find out. If it doesn't matter, I mean, I'm a lot more out there with it now because we're at a stage where I need to be, so it's fine. But when I was just, we was getting it together and deciding on things, I didn't need to necessarily bring everyone into what I was doing, I mean, I can wear this top out to like certain families, they wouldn't even know, they just think it's a brand that I've bought, they wouldn't know it's my brand, and it's funny because they don't know that, and I'm wearing it, and some people have questioned it, and it's just, but the people that do know about it are really supportive of it, and it's exciting because, you feel like you are doing something with yourself. You're not just doing a 9 to 5 and going home and doing a lot. I'm now, my brain's occupied with all the ideas of trying to sort this out and work this out, and it's fun, and it gives you a new lease of life to a certain extent, I think.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I feel like, I've got a stereotypical 9 to 5, it pays the bills. But I feel like when you are sitting there and you have these ideas in your head and you feel like almost you've got more to offer, it's definitely worth having a go. I'd rather do something and fail and look back in 20 years and think, why did I never have a go? And I think, I think there's always going to be people out there that are going to be like, oh, why are you doing that? What you doing that? What's all that? But I think you've just got to remember, if it makes sense to you, then that's the only person that needs to make sense to you. You haven't got to worry about trying to convince anyone else. And I think it's with family, I feel like maybe, at the beginning, you don't want to go around telling everyone, because if it doesn't work out for whatever reason, then you haven't got to have that. You haven't got to be like, oh, well, actually, no, it didn't. But, and there's, you take a little bit of pressure off you. But I think, from what you're saying, at the stage you're at now, it's almost like you've got this product, you've worked incredibly hard, you've gone back and forth, different designs. So what's going to be your biggest, sort of competition, and how do you go from now having that glove to actually getting it out to the fighters?
I DM people. I think
just run down the street with his gloves.
Yeah. The problem is I've never been one to be outspoken. I've always been quite shy. I've never been one to come out and say, "Oh, look at my gloves." But I always knew that there's going to be a stage where, with any business, you're going to have to get a bit more forward, you get a bit more out of your comfort zone, aren't you? And you know, it was always going to be at some point I'm gonna have to try and market this and promote it and meet people and say to people, will you wear, do you like these, will you wear these? No. But I'll be honest, because I've actually got the product now and it actually feels real now, if that makes sense, because when you're just sorting things out and you haven't actually got the order through yet, or you haven't even placed the order yet, you're still going back and forth and that,
Yeah.
it still sort of feels like it's not quite real yet, even though you're doing all the right things to get to that stage for it to become real. Until you've actually got it and you are actually operational now, when the website's done, you know, you're like, well, this is real now. And like, we had a review done the other day by Simon from Fit to Box. I don't know if you know his channel at all.
I don't.
He does he just reviews boxing gear. He's really good. You should check him out. But
I will have a look.
I've been in contact with him since I pretty much started it, you know, and I actually went on YouTube, and when you're looking at what you want to do your own gloves, it was almost too easy to just go on YouTube and look at what people are reviewing and see, you know, what they don't like about it and what they do like, and then you can incorporate the two in your gloves. So if they don't like this, well, we won't put that in the glove, you know. If we listen to the reviews and we pick out the best parts and put it in one glove, and surely we're going to do
like just free sort of market research in a way, isn't it?
Oh yeah, exactly. It's almost too easy, isn't it? I mean, why would you just go and get something without doing without looking into anything? I mean, you know why Fly are so good, because their quality is outstanding, but that's why they also charge, you know, whether it's for their top premium stuff, like £300 a glove, is it £350 a glove? You know, which is great if you are a professional and you are fighting, but you know, someone like an amateur or something or lower level, you know, they might not want to pay £350 for a glove.
Yeah, 100%.
Or, you know, it's the same with winning. If you can even get older pay, you're paying best part of £500 maybe. You know, whereas with our glove, we're not going to try and compete at that level, because honestly we can't, because we haven't got the manufacturing to make handmade gloves like Fly do. Or they've got the X line range, or whatever they call it, which is probably £180, £200 a glove, which is synthetic leather that is made in China, but they use all the same stuff as they do for their premium stuff, so the fit's the same, the shape's the same, you know. So I mean, Fly have done a brilliant job, and the best thing for them is, you know, they don't really need to promote their brand too much, because every time you watch a fight, you know, 80% of the gloves are Fly or Rival. I mean, Rival is, I think, you know, because when you start getting into branding, you start looking into competitors and what they're doing, you know, and Rival come out with some of their designs, I think, are amazing. They're like the Kobe Bryant gloves. I don't know if you saw them when they brought them out. I mean, they're just the patterns they do and the color schemes, I think, are great, and they're obviously a good brand and they've done the right things. But the guy behind Rival has a massive history in boxing. He's a cut man, you know. He's been in the corner for Lomachenko and things, so he had first-hand experience in the professional game in the corner, you know. So he was probably always knew what he was doing in that respect. But it does, you know, it goes back to brand. And again, you still got to build a brand, no matter how much you know about boxing and how experienced you are in the field. You still got to build a brand, haven't you? You know, and that's the hardest part. Yeah,
it's a process, isn't it? You know, everyone starts somewhere. When we started our YouTube channel, we didn't have many, you know, subscribers. We didn't get many views.
And it's did you find it like, you know, it's demoralizing, but you know, you've got to keep going. It's that thing, you know, you put a post out there and you get like 5 likes, 10 views, and you think, oh, is it worth it? But you know, in the back of your mind, that's how no one puts a post out and they get 10,000 likes, their first ever post, you know. And if you go back to some of the biggest brands and look back at their earlier stuff, you know, it's not at the levels their newer stuff is, because it just isn't like that, you know. It builds over time, and it's so hard not to be impatient with it, because, you know, I'd love to have clicked live on the website and we sell out in 24 hours, you know. That would be a dream, but you know, that's definitely not, you know, the reality. I don't think it is for any brand, you know. I think a lot of brands are going for years before you even really hear about them. You know, so it's being patient.
Yeah, definitely. I've had to learn to be patient, and with me, I'm a sort of numbers person. I love seeing the views, and just before we done this, I was, you know, with us, it's it's a team effort. It's me, Shane, my brother, who does all the editing and all bits like that. I was like looking at the views, like last sort of 30 days, new subscribers, views. And yeah, at the beginning it's hard because you might do an interview, you put it out, you send it to a few people, you put it on Facebook, Instagram, and you have this expectation of what you think it will do and then what it ends up doing. But then on the flip,
your expectation.
yeah, exactly. But then on the flip side to that, you might do an interview and you think, oh, bloody hell, this is doing a lot better than I thought it was. But I think with YouTube as well, sometimes it's almost like a bit of luck. People are on there at the right time. Sometimes if there's big fights happening, that's all people are looking for. But it's definitely a process, and you've got to be patient because things don't happen overnight. Have you ever thought about starting your own YouTube channel? Because I suppose it's free advertising.
Not right now. I mean, I don't think I'd be any good behind the camera, to be honest. I don't think it's my personality. But it's hard because then you need content, don't you? I mean, I don't know quite what I do. It would be more like, videoing maybe fighters in the gloves, training, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know if you could really make a YouTube channel around. I don't know. I mean, maybe in the future, if we got popular enough, we could get the fighters, build your way up. Maybe, I don't know. But at the moment, no, it's not really that.
It's time as well, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm like you. I work 9 to 5, so this is sort of like evenings and weekends gig at the minute. And lunch breaking out and tea break and things. You're doing a quick 20 minutes socialising and thinking about them. I mean, I've got 2 notebooks just full of scribbling and rubbish like that. Because the amount of times I get a thought and don't write it down or don't save my phone, and you just within 10 minutes you forget it. It's unbelievable. Whenever you get a thought, you just got to write it down because you think, I like that. You think, oh, I'll remember that when I get home. No way will you remember it. I've done it so many times.
Yeah, that's it. When I have a guest on, sometimes I'll sit there and just make bullet points of the things I want to ask, because I feel like I've got to sort of I've got to think about what people want to know as well. It's not just what I want to know. It's people that tune in and actually watch the interviews, and sometimes think, oh, that's a good one, and I think I'll write that down quickly, and then like you're saying, the next thing you know, it's out of your head. So getting your gloves to the fighters, then is it just a case of DMing them, saying who you are, what you're about, and if they're willing to have a go? Because I know you sent some to Jamie Robinson.
Yeah, I sent her. I've been in contact with him for a while though. It's just
good lad.
Yeah, you sort of troll through Instagram, don't you? And you sort of meet these guys, and I've always followed him. And I mean, you look back through his Instagram profile and you see some of the photos of him. He's been in some wars, hasn't he? So you can tell he trains, and he's he deserves whatever he can get. And I remember I DM'd him ages ago when I had my first glove. I mean, if you look back on it, I need to delete it really because it's it's not relevant to our brand anymore. But I think one of the first 1 or 2 photos I put on there was the original design, and the logo on the palm was different, and I had it embroidered, so the stitch would look good. It looked cool, but in hindsight, practicality wasn't great. You couldn't really spar on it because it was give you a bit of an edge, strictly speaking, and then it started the fray and that, and I thought, you're just gonna end up getting comebacks from that. So we had to do away with it, and that's when we actually changed the logo and everything. So I mean, it's probably a good year and a half, 2 years ago that I first spoke to him. And I said to him, "Oh, what do you think of this?" And not everyone gets back to you. I mean, you DM people, and probably I don't know, 70-80% of them probably don't get back to you because I think a lot of time they might check your profile out. Oh, you've only got, we've only got 2,000 followers. So, if we had 10, 20, 30, I think people give you credibility based on your following more so than what you're actually offering at the start, because if you click on a page and they got 50,000, you think, oh, they're well established, what they're doing, when they might have done a load of paid ads or something to get that exposure. You don't know. But yeah, I remember DMing him and just saying, "Oh, what do you think of these?" I mean, not just quite blunt as that, but there's along them lines. And he said, "Yeah, I like them and that." And I said, "Oh, I'll send you a pair and I'll get them." But because it was so much, because I never went with that initial product, we changed it, went back and forth on that. And then, I mean, I've always followed him and I've liked him. I've always said good luck in his fights and things like that. And so when I got the batch, he was one of the first person I messaged and said, "Oh, I've got the order now. What do you think of this? We've changed the design." He was like, "Yeah, they look good." I said, "Do you mind if I send you a pair to try out and get your feedback?" Because he obviously knows what he wants in a glove. So I sent him a pair, and he liked them. But it's a bit of a shame because when he puts his wraps on and his gel base, they were a little bit tight on him, which is a bit of a shame because he's the only person that has actually said that so far, which is a bit of a gut. Because I was hoping he was going to really like him and want to use him, but they obviously not every glove is comfortable for every sort of person, are they? You can't cater for everyone in that sense.
No, of course.
But we've had a couple of guys that have always DM'd us from the start who wanted a pair, and I've sent two abroad. So a guy's actually a professional MMA fighter. He's been like, he liked everything we post. He liked every story he liked, So it was like, and he had like over 10,000 followers, So as an exposure point, seemed a good idea. So we sent it to him, and he loved them, and he'd done us a little promo video and put a post out and that, and that was good. And I'm meant to be, hopefully this Saturday, I'm going down to the local gym. A lad called Lee Cutler. I don't know if you remember me saying about him on the phone call we had.
I do, yeah.
Yeah, he's like a local pro. I used to train with him years ago. He's a good fighter. And I messaged him a few weeks back and sort of introduced who we are, And I was actually at his last fight when he won his title. I said, "Oh, what do you think of our gloves? How would you feel about wearing a pair? And if we could come down or meet up, or even if I just send you them and you let us know your thoughts, And I actually introduced myself. I didn't say my name because he wouldn't know me by name, but I said, "Oh, we actually used to box together, back at it was Trinidad, Paul ABC, which is in Trinidad, which is where I used to live." And he was like, "Oh, really?" And I said, "Yeah, I still remember. My ribs are still hurting now from when we sparred, So, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm training. You can come down the gym, And he was going to do it last weekend, but he went to London to watch his campmate, Joe Pigford.
Oh yeah.
He sort of like they were campmates. They're to the same promotional company. So he went up there. So he didn't do it last weekend. So I'm hoping to do it this Saturday morning. So it'd be good to go down there and actually see him in person, and he can give me the feedback that way. And I can actually see him in him actually using them, and hopefully have a couple of pictures and things of him. But I'm looking forward to that because that would be that's a good thing. But again, that's it's sort of nerve-wracking because you are putting yourself out there again. I was like, is the gym going to be busy? Is there going to be loads of people there like looking? What's this guy doing with this? Do you know what I mean? But it's got to be done, isn't it? I understand that, and I'm willing to do it, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, no, of course. It's it's one of those sometimes as well. Like you want to push your product out, but at the same time, you don't want to be too
pestering.
Yeah, you don't want to be over the top. But from what you were saying and talking to you on the phone and talking to you on here, sounds like you've got a quality product, and you're going about it the right way. And it's just gonna take a little bit of time. But like you were saying a little while ago, it's just getting to that point where you see a household name walk out of your gloves, and then all of a sudden a bit of a snowball effect. But it just takes time. What other ways are you looking to get the glove out there? I know you're going to the gym, sending them out. Any sort of other ways of?
Well, I mean, we are going to do paid ads. I think there's no two ways about it. You have to get the exposure because you're not going to. With us with only 2,000 followers. I mean, if you actually put out a post and look at the data on those posts, you might get a bit of engagement, but you're lucky to get maybe 10% of your followers actually physically see the post just because of the way the algorithms work.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the more you see a brand, the more it's in your head, and the more you sort of, I don't want to say trust it because you don't know it, but when you're scrolling through Facebook or Instagram, or you keep seeing this ad for this brand because you've looked at it once, and they are repeatedly targeting you. So the first one or two times you might just scroll past it, and then you keep saying, "Go, oh, I'll have a little look," and that's where you got to get to, because the amount of people who go on the website and then scroll through and leave, because I think if you actually knew the amount of people who go on the, like say, I don't know, for instance, just say Fly's website could be, they're a big brand, they probably get a lot of traffic. The actual percentage of people who actually purchase is probably less than 10%, I would probably say. Maybe even less than that, and they're getting probably thousands and thousands of views. Whereas we're not, we're like single figures at the minute, because we're literally, the website went live last week. Like I say, we're not going to be getting that exposure. So, for every 1,000 people who see it, you might only sell 1 to 2 products, maybe, who knows? And then you know,
Yep.
and it's that
Yeah.
snowball effect, isn't it? And then, you know, you want to, I'm going to try and start a hashtag, you know, for when people do start buying it so that they can hashtag it and tag us in their, like, if they're training and tag us in a photo or video, and we'll upload it and we'll put it on the website or whatever, you know, because we've got a feed on our website, which we'll put our Instagram feed on the website. So, you know, like local amateurs or people just box fit want a bit of exposure and they want to be part of what we're doing, you know, they can easily do that. And I think that is sort of, you know, it's like, you know, you want to build a bit of a family, a bit of a community around it. You know, I think that's a big part. People want to feel like they're part of something when they're buying a product. You know, you want quality for your money at the end of the day as well, don't you? You know, you don't want to. It's like when I got the product, you open it and you want to know it's good. You know, if you buy a pair of Nikes, you know they're probably going to be good because the brand is massive. You don't even get them and start, you know, looking over them and trying to find little bits of thread that's going. You just accept that you're going to pay £130 for them and you're going to wear them, aren't you? You know, but like if you bought a pair of our gloves, the first thing you're going to do, like I said earlier, you're going to open them and you're going to give them a good look over because you want to know what we're about. You want to know what we're selling. Which, you know, I get that and I appreciate that's why I couldn't go through all this hassle to just try and push a product that was mediocre, which was going to get comebacks and refunds. And I mean, reviews go around so quick nowadays, it wouldn't take long.
That's the thing. People are so quick to say a negative comment as well, where people like something, they're less likely to actually say that. And talking about the ratio, you're absolutely spot on. If we had 10% of our viewers subscribe to our channel, we'd have thousands by now. It's crazy. You know, I know some people don't necessarily have an account, so they can't subscribe. But yeah, no, it's mad. Yeah, if we just had that 10%, we would be on a different level. Something we done that might be worth you considering. I know you know what you're doing, but I went and bought a pair of gloves, just a cheap pair. I sent them to Troy Williamson, British champion.
Yeah, I follow him. I've been looking at him. I was actually going to DM him actually, but
he's very approachable. I just messaged him and said, look, you know, if I send you a pair of gloves, would you sign them, send them back, which he did. I put some money in for the postage and packaging. I done a giveaway on the channel. I think I said, like, you got to subscribe to the YouTube channel, tag a few people in, follow the page, and that got I think that post got 700 views in 2 days. So
sorry, go on.
Now I was going to say, that might be worth considering. Not even him, you know, obviously a boxer with a decent following, but he was quite approachable for us.
We were, you know, last couple of nights up in the sort of down there because I said to them, my partner Kieran, you know, I think we run a competition, you know, like, tag, share, whatever.
Yeah.
Run an ad on it, you know, run a paid ad on it. And we try and get exposure from that because you're going to get the exposure from obviously the ad. And then you're going to get the exposure from people liking, sharing. And then at the end of the day, you're going to get your product out there to someone who wins the competition. And hopefully you're going to get repeatable sales from, you know, from just doing that. I mean, to get me to actually sign a pair of gloves, I think that's a great idea. I can see why that would, you know, people would love that. You know, I mean, it'd be amazing to get, like you say, someone high level. I mean, I'd love to get like Conor Benn or someone in a pair, you know, but I can't imagine he's that approachable from, you know, he's signed by Everlast, so I expect he's got
contractual.
Exactly. You know, that's the problem you have. A lot of the top pros, you go on their thing, you're like, signed by Everlast, signed by Rival, signed by Fly, or whatever. You're like, well, you know, we can't compete with that, and we don't, you know, I don't expect to really at this early stage, but. You know, but I'm always looking. You know, I think you've got to start at the bottom and work your way out. Everyone has to,
mate. Yeah, 100%. You know, since we've been doing what we do, there are so many fighters out there on the small hall scene. Literally, you know, thousands. So it's just about getting there and, you know, and building your way up.
And they're the ones that you can approach, aren't they? Because they want the exposure. Even if you send them the gloves, they do a quick post, never use them again. You know, they want whatever following you've got, they want to tap into that as much as they can, and vice versa. You know, you want to use, you know, same as what we're doing pretty much. You know, you want to bounce off each other, what each other's got to offer. You know, I mean, this is great. I mean, I'm enjoying this, but you know, it's also for a reason we're doing it. You know, if I never had a brand, you never had a podcast, neither of us would be here. You know, so do everything.
Exactly, and for us as well, it's again, like I said at the start, we predominantly interview professional boxers, coaches. We just had Chris Jenkins on to talk about the fight of Florian Marku. he's probably one of the most
I've seen that. I
well-known.
watched that earlier actually.
Oh, okay, yeah, put that on just before we came on. We had Michael McKinson on. We've had coaches. We had a mindset therapist the other week, and obviously we've got yourself talking about starting a boxing brand in the middle of a pandemic. So for our audience as well, people might watch this and think, I'll rather go have a look. Where's it? I know obviously we've spoken about your Instagram, but shout out your your website, your Instagram. Where can people find you if they want to make an inquiry or just have a chat with you about gloves?
The website is literally just thorboxing.com, THOR.
Yeah.
So nice and simple. It's the same with Instagram. It's just at @4boxing, 4_boxing. So yeah, just go on the website, check it out, or got any questions, just I'll be super responsive on Instagram. We're not like that. If people ask questions, I'll be pretty quick to get back, answer any questions you've got. No problem. It's customer service also a big thing. We're not a massive brand yet, but I think everyone wants a good experience when they're spending their own money on things. It's whether we're a big brand or not. You're not going to become a big brand by being rubbish.
Yeah, no, definitely, mate. I feel like looking after people from day one, obviously going to put you in good stead. Just before we finish off, mate, I can't get you on here without just getting your opinion on a couple of big fights coming up. We've got White Fury, 23rd of April. How do you see that fight going?
It's going to be good. Fury, it's hard because he just seems to pull it out, doesn't he? He's not like, he doesn't look all like amazingly flashy. I mean, he doesn't, his physique's not like, he's not chiseled that, but he just pulls it out, man. I mean, the fight with Dillian White, not Dillian White, I can't remember his name now.
Wilder?
Yeah, Wilder, sorry, yeah. To get up and do what he done, I think he gained respect tenfold. But it's going to be a hard fight because it could end with a knockout. It could end with a knockout either way. I mean, Fury's obviously going to just try and box it off like he does with everyone, but I wouldn't like to call this one. It will be a good fight. It will be a good fight. Whatever Tyson Fury's involved in is going to be a spectacle, isn't it? It's not going to be boring by any stretch.
Yeah, I feel like for Dillian White, fighting Tyson Fury is going to be like trying to, nail jelly to a wall. He's an incredibly great mover for such a big man.
He just got a box. But Dillian White's got a lot better over the last couple of years as well. He's been through it a bit. He's been in some tough fights. I think it might be the best time for him to step up to this. I don't know, but it'd probably be either points unanimous or it could be an upset knockout stoppage. Maybe I don't know. Like I said, I couldn't call it.
What other fights would you like to see this year? Who'd you like to see Brook fight next? If he, by the looks of it, he's going to continue. There's talks about Ben.
Yeah, I mean, I rate Conor Ben massively, and I actually met him a few years ago with his dad. And this was when he was still an amateur, and it was some experience. I was actually on the pads of his dad. It's pretty crazy, but his old man was, he was pretty savage.
He's quality, isn't
but
he?
I think Conor, is probably. I don't want to say he's not living in his dad's footsteps. I personally don't think. I think he's actually took it to another level, and I think he is fearless. I think when you see his post-fight interviews, he's not scared of anyone, and you can see he puts the graft in. And I think if he fights Cal Brook, I think he just takes him apart. To be honest, I think Cal, I mean, with Amir Khan, I always rated Amir Khan. He was sort of, when I really got into boxing, he was just coming up. He was just starting on ITV and that, and he was so good to watch, wasn't he? He was never in a ball fight. He was so quick.
Yeah.
His early point, he used to just blitz people out of there. It was just a shame, didn't have a great chin, and I'd always back him, and then he'd get beat or get knocked out and that. But I always rated him. I was gutted he didn't quite turn up for that fight, and you could see it. It ain't in him no more. Probably. And I hope he retires now. He's had a good career.
He's got enough
made
money.
A lot of money. Why keep doing it? And the same with Brook. Brook boxed well. I mean, he put it on Khan. He did box well, but I don't think he could keep it. I mean, Conor Ben, how old is he now? 20, early 20s, whatever he is. Fit, hungry. I think he do a bit of a job on him. Yeah.
I think you're right with Conor Benn. I think when he first started, it was all about, you know, being Nigel Benn's son. I think the start of his career was a little bit questionable, but I think at the same time, when you are Nigel Benn's son, you're put on such a big stage.
Yeah, it
Sky,
comes with the name, doesn't it? You know,
yeah,
you're never gonna be, oh, he's Conor Ben. Oh, by the way, his dad's Nigel. It's gonna be, is Nigel Ben's son. You know, it's the same with Eubank Jr. I mean, them two, if they ever get it on in the future, it would be, you know, crazy. But whether that happen or not, I don't know. But you know, and I feel like Eubank, the problem with him, he does try to be too much like his old man. I mean, his last fight against
Williams.
yeah, Williams, sorry. You know, he had to fight so easy the first 4 or 5 rounds, and then he just, I mean, it was like, what's going on there? He thinks he's won it already, and he just sort of switched right off. It's the same with Saunders when he boxed Saunders. You know, he just seemed to switch off. It's like thought he had to fight right, and he starts like putting his hands down and just messed up. And you think, what are you doing? You know, and it's, I mean, I don't know if it's a Saunders fight or not, where his dad was in his corner, and he was telling the coach to, like, I remember Eubank Jr. actually told his coach to shut up or something I was seeing on the thing, and I was like, well, you can't be doing that. I mean, that's just so disrespectful, and that's just not, you know, the coach is doing it. You're trying to help you win a fight. You're trying to keep you safe and trying to tell you how to win this fight at the end of the day, you know, and you're just disrespecting him. And I just think, oh, I mean, he's a great fighter. You can't knock that. And I was there when he boxed Spike Sullivan at the O2 the night Joshua was on. And I mean, he absolutely pulverized that guy. I mean, I'm surprised the guy won't, you know, I mean, he might have been seriously damaged afterwards. He did give him a punishment. I mean, he's a good fighter. Is he on his dad's level? Maybe not. I mean, his dad was, you know, he was a character, but he was hard as nails, and he could box, seriously box, you know. So yeah, but Conor, I think, you know, he's not living his dad's shadow. I think he's starting, you know, he's going on his own path, and I think he will be great.
100%. There's some good fights that could potentially be made this year, mate. Looking forward to seeing them. Obviously, can't wait for the Fury White fight next month. It's going to be a great night of boxing. But listen, mate, before I let you go, anything else you'd like to add?
No, I just want to say thanks for getting me on. You know, it's been a good opportunity. I've really enjoyed it. I'll probably talk your ears off a bit when I get going, and I'll pop.
No, mate, this is like the nice time of the evening for me. You know, work all day. You know, I could keep you on all night talking about boxing. So no, it's been a pleasure to get you on, and it's been, you know, really relaxed. You know, no pressure really. So it's good to get you on. You know, get an understanding about, you know, your route into what you're doing, your brand. And, you know, like the boxers, we look forward to following your journey as well. And no doubt, you know, 6 months, eight months, a year, we'll get you back on for a catch up.
2 weeks, yeah.
When you're making millions, you can sponsor the channel.
Yeah, will do. Yeah, this is where it all started.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, mate, I'll let you crack on. Have a, you know, good rest of the evening, and I'll let you know when the video's out as well, of course, and then obviously we can share it and stuff. But yeah, I appreciate your time, and we'll catch up with you soon.
No problem. Perfect. Thanks a lot.
All right, cheers, Matt.
Yeah, mate, thanks a lot.